So my name is Shane Holman. I was asked through a friend of a friend's who knew somebody that was doing a project, and how it was depicted to me is that they were looking for stories of LGBTQ plus members in rural areas and how that affected them. I can say that it's affected starting from the beginning. I'm not from Minnesota, so born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. Made my way up here as an elder adult. At that point, I did find, at the time, my true love, which was a woman. We started a family. At this whole time, it was one of those things, I always get the question, and I always say it's an ignorant question, when did you know and how did you know you were gay if you were with a woman? I said, well, my upbringing, it's harder than you think. And of course, I'm not of the elder generation, but I'm of a generation that was still not accepting in that community aspect. So I fought many, many years just trying to hide who I was. It was one of those things that I think that I kept myself busy in other opportunities and things. I was very active in 4-H and those things as a child and loved the outdoors. So those things drew me away from what people would say is that draw or need for that. I don't even know how to really depict it, but it's different for everybody. But I tried to hide who I was and I just took that away, keeping myself busy. Fast forward, moved to Minnesota, met this woman, fell in love instantly. We connected emotionally, physically, everything just clicked. People will say, why did you move forward if you knew that you were gay? Well, I had not accepted or come to terms with myself at that time. We did start a family, we got married, we had 2 beautiful children. Fast forward, great relationship, everything worked. However, one of my really good friends, we were best friends, fishing, hunting, all those types of things. There was a situation where we went to a concert one night. We all rode together. He parked across the street. He took me back to my car, and when I got out, he made the comment and he said, hey, don't I get a kiss? Well, we bantered back and forth making stupid comments like that all the time, just how friends say stupid stuff. I said those exact words. I said, you're stupid, and I shut the door. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, my whole ride home, I started processing and all these feelings and things that I have tucked away for, I was 23 at the time, had just come flooding forward. And I had a good 45-minute drive by myself where these emotions and feelings have now all surfaced again. And I started questioning everything that I've done in life, where I'm moving forward, how am I gonna handle this, blah, blah, blah. I get home and muster up the courage to have a conversation with my wife because I had come to the terms that I need to accept who I am and I need to be honest with the people in my life so that I'm not continuing to go down a deceitful path. I walk in and I said, hey, we have to have a conversation. And she looked at me and she said, you're gay. I was shocked. I was stunned. I didn't know what to say. But taken back, and I said, I am. I said, and we just need to talk through this. We had a long conversation, worked things out, a lot of in-betweens that don't need to be said out loud, but she ended up, it wasn't a divorce, and those kinds of conversations are never great, but we're best friends. The words that resonate with me the most is she said, I'm sorry that you had to pretend to be somebody else your whole life. We're best friends till this day. We celebrate every holiday together, our kids as a family, those types of things. She's been my biggest supporter in all of that, behind my back, supporting me, those types of things. Fast forward into the next version of Shane, being able to accept who I was, whatnot. In this small town is when it got hard. Living in this area, keep in mind this was some years ago, people were not open to the LGBTQ plus community. They're still not open to the LGBTQ plus community. However, we lived in Deerwood, smaller population. My kids went to Crosby School. They were consistently bullied. In a schooling system that said that they promote no tolerance bullying, they were bullied day in, day out. Kids were mean. They would say derogatory slurs, talk about how disgusting it is for someone to have two dads, and why don't you have a mom, and using derogatory slurs such as faggot and queer quite frequently. My daughter was bullied the most. She's the oldest, well, my oldest daughter. I have 3 kids. She got to a breaking point where the bullying became very hard. She started cutting herself to try to hide and cover up what she was going through. She also tried to take her life because of this bullying. I didn't know that would hit me like that. There was a situation where, I'm sorry. There was a situation where we got called into school because my daughter was acting out. We went in and sat down with the teacher, the said student that was causing these issues, and my daughter, and then their parent. We had brought up and we said, what's going on? And they said that my daughter had basically a meltdown moment and verbally was loud and aggressive towards another student. The teacher had admitted to us that she knew this said student was calling my daughter, basically bullying for the fact that her parents were, well, her father was gay, and she just couldn't take it. So I said, you mean to tell me that you guys knew this was going on in a no tolerance situation, and my daughter has now become, and then we went through that whole path of she became a cutter and tried to take her life. My daughter graduated with honors and whatnot, but it was a struggle. It was a rough time of our life to, as a parent, watch her go through that and then still be a part of that. I had people put signs in my yard with derogatory slurs, calling me faggot and queer. I don't belong here. Go back to where I came from. Those types of things. At that point, I decided that I can't let this small town ignorance drive me or affect my family out of this place. So I then became active in a lot of community things. I started a 4-H group. I was a Boy Scout leader through the schooling system at that time, became active in the middle school and high school, and just became visual for people to see me as an individual, and that their comments and concerns behind my back was not going to affect me or my family. I did that for quite some time, a couple years. Unfortunately, it did take a little twist of a turn because at the time, there was a big thing about the Boy Scouts of America and all of that stuff. So me and another LGBTQ plus leader were asked to resign because of that. I think it was because the rumors on the street, people were saying that the only reason why I wanted to be a part of these things was so that I could be around small children. Not the case. It's because I want to be an active parent in my child's life and be a supportive role model for anybody else in this area. And I lived my life as an openly gay man. And I did that so because of being in there, knowing that this community is not open to that, I could be helping a small child in that area, just seeing me that here's an adult gay male who has children, successful job, and is living his best life. After that whole resignation, being asked to leave, I then found other outlets. There was a nonprofit LGBTQ plus group that went by the name of Project Rainbow. Found that, and I became active as a member, first of all, just going to their events and the things that they had to offer. Well, then after so said, I then did interview and became a board member and an active part in that group. I can honestly say the woman who started that and was the president, Corey, that whole group and things saved my life a lot, especially in this area, because it gave me an outlet to be around people who I knew supported me, and also that were going through some of the same things. And it's nice to be around said people who understand, and you don't have to shadow or leave bits and pieces out because they accept you for who you are and all of you. That group, long time coming. We did great things, worked for different organizations, raised money for different things and all that stuff. A couple years in that aspect as well. Unfortunately, the group did disband, as said groups usually do after so long, especially when there's people that aren't willing to take over. I believe I'll say Rain, because she is a queen to me, 20-some years she did that. And it gets hard, it wears on a person, but she tried to pass that torch, and it unfortunately didn't pass as well, but great times of my life. In Crosby, also just going back to the aspect of keeping your head up in those times of need, there were some coworkers, while I was a Boy Scout leader, they started some rumors that ended up having authorities having to get involved, but they were saying that I was operating a gay sex farm. And again, that the only reason why I was a Boy Scout leader was to be around young boys. Not true. Meanwhile, all of those adults had no time to put in to focus and spend time with kids to help them. And my kids were grown, so I was doing this just because I enjoyed doing those types of things and giving back to my community. So with that, we had to get some authorities involved. When she was approached and asked about that, she tried to deny that she even knew me. Said paperwork, because her son was actually in my group, proved otherwise. And these are adult women. These are adult women who have families and are doing this childlike rumor mill things that could destroy somebody's reputation. Again, I kept my head held high. You can say what you want about me, but people know facts, and that's not a fact. I will say, out of the group of ladies that did do that, there were 2 of them that wrote me apology letters. I will accept that. You're big enough to say, hey, I messed up. I'm sorry for what I did. It was slander and whatnot, and we moved forward. I still have a little bit of animosity, but sometimes. So I got to the point where I say, my life's an open book. I will tell my story 100 times over and over. I will tell every aspect. I'm very open and honest about the things that I've gone through because, again, I feel like telling my story and going through the bullying and the triumphs and things that I have and keeping your head held high. They do say it does get better. It does. But it's really finding that core group of people that I feel and that has worked best for me, that love and support me for who I am. We all come from different walks of life. We all come from different nationalities and ethnicities and all of that, but it's about the core person and what you represent and if you're a good person or not a good person. So again, I'll say I tell my story because if I can help one person in my community who may be going through the same things or may in the future encounter some of that same bullying in these small towns or larger towns, because it does happen everywhere, I'll tell it 100 times over again.